Hi, I'm Paul Taylor. I'm the Managing Director of Trust Nature Propriety Limited. What we're about to show you is how to transform a high-maintenance lawn and the landscaping into a very productive permaculture food production system. We're using Trust Nature's BioVital system for fertility and soil management and permaculture design for fresh food in replacing high-maintenance lawn and landscaping. You're about to see a 90-day process where we transform the front yard into a virtual supermarket for family and friends. This is going to produce several tons of food annually and be less maintenance than the former lawn and landscaping. For more information, have a look at our website, trustnature.com.au, or contact me personally via email or telephone. Thank you very much. This property is located on the outskirts of a small town. It's a few acres, but what we're focusing on initially is the front lawn project. This is a 90-day project, that's the brief. We have 90 days to transform this from a non-productive, high-maintenance lawn and garden into a very productive, lower-maintenance, fresh food system. The first thing we did was to build raised beds. The raised beds are about 8 inches or 200 mils deep. We fill these raised beds with local soil and with 20% BioVital compost, and then we mulch them. As soon as we develop the beds, we can begin planting as long as we have water for initial irrigation. This system depends on about 30 to 50% less water than normal systems. Once we do the initial raised beds, we move toward the house to make a mini food forest or shrub growing productive system. We use a garden border, which is a soft plastic border that's covered in mulch so you don't see the border at all. And we line the bed with a mulch sheeting to prevent the lawn grass from growing up into the bed. Eventually the sheeting will decompose and we'll be planting straight into the deeper soil. In the shrub growing productive system, we use less of a structure and make it a little bit more ornamental. It's dominated by blueberries as the request of the client, and interspersed with it is strawberry ground cover, herbs, comfrey, pinto peanut, and several other varieties of plants. Once we do the front lawn, then we move into the outer edges. That's currently dominated by ornamental plants that require quite a bit of maintenance. We pull out about 50 or 60 ornamental shrubs and begin to replace them with fruit-producing fruit trees. In order to prepare the system, we apply compost. We add soil to a depth of 400 to 500 millimeters, and then we have enough to establish fruit trees over the long period. The basis of the productive system is to be as sustainable as possible. We use local waste or on-property waste to build compost piles. The compost still has all the benefits of any good compost. It's rich in organic matter, it's rich in plant nutrients, but the point of difference is that it has a high diversity of beneficial microorganisms. The microorganisms reconstruct soils microbially to give it an aerobic structure. That means that root development and plant advancement is accelerated, and the dependence on outside nutrients is decreased. With the compost, we also use something called a soil probiotic, where we extract the microorganisms out of the compost and into a solution before applying them to our soil systems. With the compost, we also have a fermented biofertilizer, which is quite a simple product made as an anaerobic fermentation process. It's very similar to making beer in the garage, and probably even less management. At the end of 2 months, the minerals in the original ingredients have been digested and made plant available by soil microorganisms in the vats. Along with the compost, the soil probiotic, and the biofertilizer, we have another specialist process based in waste bones from local butchers. When you burn bones, they're easily crushed because they become very brittle. We then mix the bones with a high silica product. In this case, we use rice husk. This means that as you help plants accelerate in growing, you maintain high nutrient quality in the leaves and in the plant and strengthen cell walls, so we reduce the possibility of infection or disease. Here we're looking at the growth rates after a few weeks. By using the BioVital 3-part process, we maintain production and accelerate production as we watch and observe plant growth. When we transform lawn into our own personal supermarket, having abundance in a system is a very empowering thing. Vital food means vital people, vital food means vital community and vital families, and there is nothing quite as an expression of abundance and family health as the round table of sustainable food production. In order to become self-reliant, it also means that we should look at being water self-reliant. In this instance, we were fortunate enough to have a high ridge above the major garden area. In order to extend the catchment of the dry ridge, we made a swale, which is a non-compacted ditch on contour. The swale is 300 to 400 meters long and drops into the dam at a 1 to 200 falls. That ensures water flow and ensures that the dam will fill over time. The dam building process takes 4 or 5 days. That includes the 400 meter long swale. The first thing we do is strip the topsoil and save that. We save that aside so we can put it back around the dam when it's finished and use it on the dam wall to stabilize it for plantings. We carefully work into greater depth, managing our clay and assessing our clay resources. The dam will eventually be lined with clay in its entirety. Here we're using a 10-ton backhoe and front end loader. The mobility and the ability of this single machine to do multiple jobs is why we chose this size machine, and we were able to use it in other garden areas. As you can see in the photographs, the dam is pretty well lined, and as we build the swale, we make sure that we reduce the silt that arrives in the dam. The mound of the swale is a tree planting system, and nutrient as it runs through the swale is absorbed into the soil and taken up by trees. This means that the water that arrives in the dam has already aided production. Here we see some pineapples and other places where we're planting fruit trees and annual crops. As soon as we do earthworks, we always plant them out. This makes the soil stable and reduces siltation. As you can see in the background, there's early emergence of cover crops already happening. In between the swales, we can plant in a more of a row system. And one of the things that swales do is help keep ambient moisture levels up below the swale in very good order. When you look at the broader landscape in the high maintenance lawn, and you can imagine all the embodied energy hours that have been here for the 20 years that the house has already been here, and then we can convert this high energy input lawn into a low energy input home supermarket in just 90 days. I think that's a remarkable result for a permaculture experiment.